Beautiful people, this is Haven's Homestead. I just got done watering and feeding all my birds in the hatchery room. Now I'm gonna drink some coffee and watch a little news. While that's going on, y'all can watch my birds do their thing. You look way off in the background, you will see them all over there. They're in our compost pile over there. Tearing up all that compost. Hey, Santa Claus. How you doing, Sandy?
Like for you?
Salty cracker on Drew Perry.
What has happened to you? And then when do you come to
That's
this
Drew.
realization that you just described to us?
I've just been watching what's been going down what's been happening the last few years is so out in front for everybody to see that if you're listening to any of these people who were banned before this, then you've kind of been inoculated to kind of the mainstream media message. And there is a voracious appetite for people who are not towing that mainstream media line. It's very easy to stay on these platforms and stay monetized if you just regurgitate what they want you, what the seemingly establishment wants you to say. And not saying that it will cost you money, but it will grow you an audience, because people are just looking around and they're sitting there going, well, none of this makes any sense. And so I was just, yelling at one of the things that started all of this for me was 9/11. I was 20 when 9/11 happened, and nothing with 9/11. As I was getting older, I was sitting going, none of this makes any sense to me. And then you go down some of these rabbit holes, and a lot of what those people were saying 20 years ago, they're now acknowledging today. And I'm sitting there going, okay, well, we're going through the same thing with COVID. This time I'm not buying any of this. I'm just speaking out against it. And then, people gravitate towards that message. And, Rumble's been very, very open.
What was your job as a commentator?
I was an educator.
Okay. And as you sort of this is very different than being an educator. And have you found it difficult to absorb criticism? Do you ignore it? How do you maintain your ability just to keep marching forward? And I'm asking that because that are doing things like you're doing often are realizing that this is now an important thing, and that this is now their job or calling, and that the sort of freedom fighter is sort of what people are starting to think of themselves as, something that they never ever, at least in my lifetime, people never worried about. Is that what happened to you?
The public education system was a gigantic awakening to me, because it's a complete lie. When you're inside of it, it's very much got a lot of these aspects that you see in these psychological things that play out. Like the teachers are venerated, the teachers, they're always shown to be, they make movies, or they used to, at least in the 80s, like movies about teachers, and it was like, oh, look how great, benevolent these people are. And to be honest with you, in public education system, most teachers hate you. So I mean, they hate you. It's just there to show up for a job. They don't even have to be good at their job. It's all planned out. Everybody see now the reading, writing, and math levels for kids that were graduating in high school, or like 6th grade, and they go, well, we just need more money. So I was sitting there in that system going, boy, this is a big mess in here. And all of these people inside this apparatus are absolutely convinced that they're the good guys. The parents are the bad guys. And the entire system is completely busted front. And I started my own tutoring business. And in between type of stuff, just on my YouTube channel. And over time, they just kept wrapping more and more and more. And it was, it's turned into this.
And what is the significance of salt and salty?
You know, it's real stupid. But I was reading Dune. And I was working in between clients and starting the channel up. Spice must flow. And my wife was like, you're really bitter or angry about all of this. You're like she's Mexican, so she's like, you're a salty cracker. And I was like, I'm sorry. It's like I said,
See, I told you he's a cracker. I told you he just called me cracker. It came from his wife. So maybe this is I'm an optimistic bias, right? And so there's sort of two thoughts I have simultaneously. One is, and it's unfair of me to ask you both the same time. One is this a similar challenge to the Gutenberg Bible at accelerated pace? You know, because it is technology, it's electronic, it's the speed at which this challenging civilization is heightened, number one. But my other comment isn't this sort of how markets work? Even when it comes to governments, which is that they become bloated, they become inefficient, and people come in underneath that are scrappy and better. And now we have in these parallel economies and parallel educational systems, there's even a new sort of a wrinkle to it that I never imagined, which is that the people coming in like the people they serve. They like their patients, like their customers. They don't disdain them and hate them the way all the other businesses and all the other educational systems in the world, in the country, seem to be. What's your thoughts on it? Because I sit around and I think these things. I'm in my own echo chamber, right? And I read broadly and I try to understand it and I try to interact with people and I try to truth. And then I look at people commenting about things I say on Twitter, and I feel like, oh, I'm an asshole. I don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm always sort of probing. I'm trying to figure out what other people know that I don't know.
No, you're 100% spot on. The world will always continue to move forward. It will always change, and you will always have a subset of sociopaths trying to game the system. And the market will always cave those in over time, because you're never going to there's a difference between the type of people who gravitate towards how the current so the sociopaths drag us into one direction, and they make it real easy for weak people to succeed in those old rotten out husks of whatever sector they have co-opted. They do this with everything. They'll destroy everything.
Yeah.
And
but you're suggesting you're painting the picture of an evolution. My daughter, elites. You're describing elites, really, as you're describing. At least the elites become these hollowed out husks eventually, self-serving husks, and how elites become ossified and stuck, and that things really do fall apart if those elites aren't sort of moved along or taken down, however you want to see it. Is that what?
No, I'm not advocating. I'm advocating essentially kind of letting them fall in on themselves. These people rot out. Whatever they take over, they rot out, and those will always last. And the reason I do that is because people who are pioneers, people who are industrious, people who've got grit, and people who like building stuff will always build better everything. And so as these people take over the old legacy everything, they've taken over legacy print, they've taken over legacy television, they'll take over legacy big tech, they take over legacy stuff. It gets
Universities.
Perfect example. Perfect example. They take the names of old institutions, actual worth in them, destroy them by flooding them with the other cronies who will let them continue being criminals inside them. And these things will all collapse. You're watching this in real time. With whatever they do it with Disney, they do it with Marvel, they'll do it with everything.
And what describe the questions I keep asking, like you said, Corolla got things right, and yeah, I got some notes. I mean, he got things mostly right, but I'm always telling him that, okay, then well, how long and how's this going to work and how's it going to go? So I'll ask you the same thing. How does it play out? Is there a time frame for this? How do you see it going?
It's fascinating. Watching this play out, because if you things are moving so rapidly and so quick, especially in this COVID realm, even though it seems like forever, especially for people who've been fighting against it or dealing with it for going on to 4 years now. If you take a look at what they said they wanted to do at the beginning of this, they all were very happy and proud of what they wanted. These people, they all backtracked now, but they wanted to put you on a subscription of these injections. They wanted you to wear masks forever, and they wanted the digital passport. They wanted all of these things. All of those things have been destroyed, right? And we ain't doing any of this nonsense over here. Games. So we've already won by denying them what they wanted. We've already won. Those people will never. Because again, these people are monstrous individuals. They don't care about our health. They don't care about our prosperity. They care about entanglements. They care about these are soul vampires, Dr. Drew. These people, they want control. They're megalomaniacs. They like when people are upset. They like when people are frustrated. And the monetary aspects of this are cultured to these people. These people are billionaires. They don't care about money. They want to rule our lives. They want to put the boot on our throats. As long as we continue to resist, we will always win in that fashion. But then we're starting to see, on top of all of this, especially with people like you who are talking to these individuals who've been silenced by these big tech platforms like Dr. Michael Yeadon, explaining how do you get all of these corporations to utilize the spike aspect of this protein that's the most dangerous part of it to put into their vaccine that they're giving to these people, and then you're finding out everything that they wanted to shut down before, with the myocarditis, the pericarditis, the blood clots, the Guillain-Barré, the stroke, everything. They're like, okay, well, they're talking about the fragmentation. There's parts of DNA, like simian virus, who explains major, but there's stuff all around.
Well, the plasmids. There's a lot going on. I agree, and it keeps getting dismissed as so much nonsense. But it's just slowly coming out that there's quite a bit to some of these things. And when I ask the questions, why did you check? Why the spike protein, the one part of the virus we know that the one that's causing the problem, that's the protein we want to flood. That to me is such an odd thing, because they could have gone for the nucleocapsid protein. They could. By the way, it's also the part of the virus that's shifting rapidly. Why would you choose that region of the virus unless you already knew that there could be something with the coronavirus, you had a vaccine underway, and you just had to pull the trigger on the manufacturing and the final sort of gloss on it. And to me, that's pretty clearly what happened. We haven't gone, there's, maybe we could come up with something better in the meantime. Let's see about nucleocapsid or other ways of doing this. The fact that they haven't is so disturbing. Okay, so there's that. Number one, I have to take a little break here. By the way, I didn't expect you to say that Colin Robinson was in charge of the country. That we have certain. Do you know what we do in the shadows? Do you watch that show? He's an energy vampire. He's a soul vampire. Energy vampires. But I want to come back from this little break, and I want to talk about. I want you to go at me about me vaccinating my elderly patients. I think people want to see us get into that one. So feel free, number one. And then number two, I want to talk a little bit about social media platforms and freedom. There's Colin Robinson. And freedoms. Yes, he lived to 100. Then he died. Then he was reborn. But a little bit about social media, the protections they have, and what we should be doing with those protections, or should we let it fly? I'm very, very curious on your position on how we have set up social media in the law, and should we just leave it like that, and how we should protect it, whatever your thoughts are. So, Salty Cracker, again, let me give all the particulars where you can find him. It's the Salty Cracker on Rumble. It is at Salty Cracker on YouTube. It is Salty Cracker 9 on Twitter, and saltmustflow.com. Don't confuse it with Spice Must Flow. This is Salt Must Flow. And I will just remind you that in the eyes of his Mexican-American wife, he's a salty cracker. And that's how you shall remember him. All right, we'll take a break. Be right back after this. Figure out the right present for someone. You will not go wrong with gifting the most comfortable sheets, clothing, that your friends and family have ever felt. Of course, I'm talking about Cozy Earth. Cozy Earth has the softest and most comfortable sheets, blankets, towels, PJs, joggers, and more, guaranteed. Susan and I love them. In fact, we still have Cozy Earth sheets on our bed. It slips in the kit contains an assortment of life-saving medications, which would have been rolled out by the government, amongst other things. Anyway, the wellness company get involved with this. You'll hear about it soon enough. The Salt Must Flow, or just saltmustflow.com, is with us, Salty Cracker. And people are sort of screaming on Rumble about Reed. What's Reed? What is that?
These lefties being upset about everything. They're like, Reed!
It's sort of like the what is the three mice or so? The three little pigs. We all the way home. This is your version of that. Okay, got it. Going over. Let's start with the vaccine.
They're definitely gonna clip that too, Drew. Now that you've said Reed, they're gonna clip it. It's gonna be
Reed. I want to see it. Reed. I'm happy to be part of the clan. Not the clan. Oh, no. That's what somebody will clip. That's what somebody will clip. Oh my God. That's the craziness of the present moment. You can't say anything with somebody saying you said something, which is just absurd. But anyway, exactly. So I and I'm trying to get to the concerns about it for young males right now, where this is now a benefits of the vaccines are essentially zero for them, and yet there's real risk. It's relative. It seems, but these are really serious side effects. If you're a 28-year-old male and somebody, well, let's say a 20-year-old male, somebody says you have to take this to come to college, and I say they should sue the hell out of those colleges that mandated them to take something that had no benefit to them or their community, but separation. But I have elderly patients, and my patients died from COVID. It happened. And when they got COVID, they were really sick, and they were interested in vaccine therapy, wanted vaccine therapy, motivated to take vaccines, understood that these were relatively new, and that the risk reward for somebody who's 85 with a problem list as long as my arm, even though there are real risks, the risk reward falls very favorably on the side of taking the vaccine. What do you say?
I don't know enough to comment on that. I was of the opinion in the middle of all of this that if I was 70-something years old, then yeah, I would probably be more inclined to take an experimental injections. But yeah, I totally understand. There's a difference when you give out medical advice and when I give out medical advice.
Well, I mean, you're not saying follow me. You're saying I'm questioning things. You know, and that's perfectly reasonable to question everything. You should do that. I would suggest everybody do that. But you're not saying follow me or take my advice. In fact, I suspect you're saying quite the opposite. Talk to your doctor.
Oh yeah, no, whenever I talk about this now, so I'm telling everybody very clearly, very loudly, I don't know what I'm talking about. The way that I operate is I look at who's telling me to do something and what are they doing. This is all stuff that we used to learn during Saturday morning cartoons. Just real basic, simple stuff. What is the person telling me to do? What are they actually doing? Are they living up to what they're talking about? Do they got a track record of success? Do they got a track record of matching their actions to their words? All of these people, no. And everything that they're saying sounds to be just the complete opposite of what they're actually. Hey, you've seen the Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
This idiot was forcing children to wear masks in daycare. Where he's at the French Laundry with a bunch of other idiots. Yeah. Why would anybody listen to these people? It's because they're deathly afraid. They are. I love my mom. I know she's going to listen to this later on. I'm sorry, Mom, I'm going to say this, but you got a bunch of people who watch CNN all day long, and they are just eating up. Death ticker on one side, you got a health ticker on the other side, you got a child on the other side, everybody's dead. And then in between these segments of these talking heads who are not living up to what they're talking about, they're selling these products to people. And I'm sitting there going, you are clearly, it's a money printing machine. These corporations, they don't have to test this stuff out. They don't have to go through the rigorous trials. They don't have to pay for any of this. The government has already bought all of these shots up for 2030. So this is a big scam as money concerned. Quite obviously, everything else, when it comes to the medical stuff, I have no idea. I'm not a doctor. I have no idea what's going on. One of those things with the hearing thing is true. I don't know.
One of those things. So I'm certain you do have an opinion, though, about firms and whether they are publishers and how they should be perceived by the legal system. Tell me your thoughts.
Again, it's one of these situations that you run into. We already have a very clearly written out. There's a lot of lawyers who rubber stamped all of this stuff. Legal process. People who are doing all of this laws to begin with. So it doesn't matter if you have Section 230. The people who are, the federal government is not allowed to call up Facebook. The federal government is not allowed to have a hotline to Twitter and say ban Dr. Drew for questioning whether or not a piece of paper stops an airborne virus. They're not allowed to do it. This is precedent that has been set. The Supreme Court has already gone over. They went over this in the 1800s. It's very, very clear. But these people that we're up against don't follow any rules. I mean, they bribe people with experimental injections for hot dogs. They don't follow any. They've got no morals. They don't follow. It's up to industrious individuals to outperform these people in every aspect of our society.
I love that idea. I think that is a great call to action for content creators and for people creating products for parallel economies who care about and love their customers. I think you're absolutely 100% correct. But back to Section 230. So violated it. What do we do? Is it just let these things work through the courts now, or what is there action to be taken, or is it just all on Elon Musk? And you read the biography?
No, not read the biography. This is it's a very complex situation that we're in. You're just going to, I hate to say it because it's going to take time and it's going to take a lot of patience, but I think you're just going to have to wait for other people. You've already seen it. It's YouTube's got a 20-year head start on Rumble, but Rumble is getting bigger and bigger. And we are streaming to far greater numbers on Rumble than I'm streaming on YouTube. For whatever reason, there are competition, and I'm not going to wait for billionaires to. I'm not going to wait for. I don't know what is going on with Elon Musk. I cannot believe that, but I'm not going
Read
to.
the biography. Read the biography. It's fantastic. Once oh my God, it's so fantastic. I'm fascinated with him now. Respect and admiration for him, but now I'm really preoccupied with him. And when you learn about how he functions, go fuck yourself from the stage comments the other day, that's just him. That's just business as usual for him. That's just a Tuesday. He calls it like he sees it. He is at a level that I've never seen anybody function. And I always thought he was just a super genius that could master anything. That's not it. That's not it. He is a certain kind of personality, suffers for it, and so there's relationships. And he has a relentlessness and a focus and a willingness to take risk and understands how to hire good people and fires relentlessly. I mean, he talked about when he got into Twitter and he just did what he always does. I'm amazed that there weren't 1,000 lawsuits because he is a brutal employer. And how he avoids suits, I don't know, but most people are bought into his thing. And even his dearest friends eventually get fired. Almost nobody survives. And it's all in the name of doing something good for humanity. It's dealing with our oil problem. It's getting access to interplanetary transportation should we ever need it. It's mining stuff for maybe I suspect he's next going to want to mine off an asteroid or something. I just can't see that. And he just goes from business to business to business, solving problems and doing it better than anybody ever. And certainly better than the government. It's interesting. Bill Gates comes to him at a certain point and goes, "Hey man, you should be doing philanthropy." And Musk goes, "Right, show me what you're doing." He goes, "That's ridiculous. I could do 100 times more benefit for people creating businesses that not only create jobs and financially improves the situation for the country, but will do more for humanity running a business than these sleepy things you're doing." It's really interesting. I suggest you read it. I think you'd like it.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'd love to have some insight into what's going on there because the guy seems too good to be true, and so I'm hesitant. I'm hesitant to trust people.
He has a compass that is very literal, a moral compass and a compass for helping humanity. That it doesn't include much empathy, right? Which is sort of something that some personalities get this. They have a very very mathematical, literal, measured response to good and bad, morality, those sorts of things. And he's definitely one of those. I don't know. The biography didn't talk about much about his moral compass, but in terms of what he sees as good, he knows how to do it, and he does it his way, and he is right. He's just right. And for that, he should be applauded. And anyone who thinks this is someone to be disdained, now I question you. You know, sometimes it's there's certain things, people that if you're not on board with at least what they're doing or what they're trying to do, then you're the problem, not him. And I don't understand. Maybe you could talk to me about this a little bit. I guess I'm a free speech literalist. And I don't understand how anyone who understands anything about the founding principles of this country, anyone who has studied the French Revolution or pre-revolutionary, early 20th century Russia, or any other revolutionary time, talk about Germany if you want, I don't understand how anyone who studies these things can want there to be a real significant limitation on speech. How do you understand that?
I think the people that are going in a direction where they want more and more freedom restricted are people who don't utilize those freedoms to begin with, so it's no loss to them. And so we've got a crisis of weakness in our society. And the way that our society is set up, not only does it give you attention for your perceived crisis that you're going through, it punishes you if you try to utilize any of these real basic principles that create all this prosperity, freedom of speech. And so these people who are fine with getting rid of freedom of speech, they're not using freedom of speech to begin. There's something wrong with these people. They're just going to regurgitate whatever they're allowed to say. You're watching these NPC meme. The NPC meme was was perfect because it perfectly explains these people's behavior in a real simple way.
Johnny go.
Love Elon Musk last year. And before Elon Musk was buying Twitter, all of these people, they have Tesla stickers. These people love Elon Musk. Now, a switch gets turned, the machine says no. Not only are you not allowed to fight that dude, if you don't come out and tell everybody how much you hate him, then you'll be attacked. And so then you watch these people, and it's predominantly done in these Democrat run hellholes or these college institutions where, like a virus, a mind virus, goes through the system that says, okay, this
That's the meme.
it's not bad. Yeah.
So I flashed up the meme.
Yeah.
There it is. There's the meme big flash. Yeah.
These people are programmed by music, they're programmed by streaming services, they're programmed by big tech, they're programmed by their
What
professors.
do they say? Read.
They do? Oh, yeah. If you disagree with
NPCs do. Okay, good.
yeah.
So the first time the NPC, what should we call it, an analogy or meme as you call it, was Scott Adams. Did you know Scott?
I love Scott Adams, but he has banned me on Twitter. He was mean to him.
Oh, you were mean to him. What'd you say?
I don't even remember.
What'd you say, dude?
Scroll was not nice. I think it had something to do.
Probably when he said that about the African American thing, that probably got him.
Yeah.
It was the vaccine, because he was all over. He was still telling people that you're an idiot. Oh, I know what it was. He was saying you're an idiot. If you didn't get the vaccine or if you about it, you just guessed, you accidentally guessed correctly or something like this. And I was like, this is hard to do. I'm an idiot. I figured this out.
See if I can bring it back around, perhaps. It's kind of a great. People are they're either pre-programmed of what their beliefs and ideas are, or they're so much attuned to the mob that they automatically, without even understanding it, go with certain aspects of the mob action, at least the least risky way to deal with the mob, because the mob will embrace you immediately, and that's how mobs work. They feel in a football stadium, to be part of the audience and the cheering. That if humans need that, they like it. Feels reassuring, and when it's a mob that can turn on you very easily, people are very reluctant to go against. But boy, there has maybe never been a more important time in history when we need to do so, and when we can do so. There were times when you really couldn't do so because they captured essentially the police and or military authority and were actually violent. Now they carry out violence as best they can, but they don't actually carry out violence, though they could get there very, very easily.
Well, they did it with the riots. I mean, they burned down $2 billion worth of businesses in one site. They killed dozens of black people during Black Lives Matter rallies. I mean, these people are very dangerous. And they're only dangerous in the sense that the machine utilizes them and lets them be dangerous.
Yeah, the machine utilizes them. That's really interesting. I felt that's what the machine was doing with homelessness. They're letting people with mental illness deteriorate on the streets. Only country I'm aware of in the world that does not take care of sick people. Running open-air hospitals without doctors and nurses, run by social workers who aren't trained to even evaluate the medical aspect of what's going on, let alone treat it. So we have hospitals, open-air hospitals run by social workers, no doctors and nurses allowed, and you're starting to see it again. The rhetoric is, it's because of capitalism, it's because of income inequality, which has very little to do with what's on the streets, particularly of Los Angeles and California.
They have turned it into a money-making racket. We have never dumped more money into homelessness in California, and we've never had homelessness in California. Though I doubt that is an accident. It just seems that they're intertwined. And I'm empathetic to this. My brother is a drug addict, and so he's never going to get any help. He's never going to go see anybody because he doesn't need to see anybody. His entire life, he can be a drug
doing whatever he wants to do. Who are you to say? Is that this is, first of all, it causes anosognosia, so it prevents insight into what's happening, number one. And number two, these are progressive illnesses that end in death. It ends in death. People cannot get that through their head, that you're allowing people to die of a condition, a brain disorder that blocks their ability to see what is happening. We call it anosognosia. You more commonly perhaps call it denial. And I want to ask another question about freedom, which is, I guess it was yesterday, the day before, we had Alex Jones on Twitter, being part of a Twitter Spaces. To me, what is it here?
Over the weekend, Donald Trump in his first common figure speech at a rally in Dayton, warned about what happens to jobs in American auto industry. If old Joe or Gavin Newsom or whoever the Democrat nominee eventually ends up being wins the election, because he has a plan for the stiff and I'll play the clip in just a moment, and you'll see that it is obvious what he was talking about. But because the liberal media knows their key demographic audience are complete morons, they are just shamefully lying about making violence.
Mexico has taken over a period of 30 years 34% of the automobile manufacturing business went to Mexico. China now is building a couple of massive plants in Mexico, and they're going to sell those cars into the United States with no tax. You and I, those big monster car manufacturing plants that you're building in Mexico right now, and you think you're going to get that, you're going to not hire Americans, and you're going to sell the cars to us now. We're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line. If I get elected, now if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole. That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath. That'll be the least of it. But they're not going to sell those cars.
So any normal person knows exactly what he's talking about. Tariffs, Chinese imports, cars being made in Mexico. Okay, but this is not liberal media. Trump says it will be a bloodbath. He loses the election.
Going to be a bloodbath. That will be the least of it.
He's even predicting a bloodbath. What does that mean? He's going to exact a bloodbath? There's something wrong here. How respectful of the American people and their goodness. But how much more do they have to see from him to understand that this isn't what is
Continuation for years, as you pointed out. It goes even farther back, right? This is the same guy who, after Nazis marched on Charlottesville, said they were very fine people on both sides.
Again, he was talking about people who are upset about statues, not the people who are marching in the United States rally.
Same guy who in 2020 told the crowd.
This is beyond political spin, bending the truth, and even blatant lying. These people are evil. We all know that the Proud Boys were headed up by Enrique Dario, who definitely is not white, but he's sitting there on MSNBC and telling their moronic audience that the Proud Boys were a supremacist organization. And of course, the stand back was Trump misspeaking. He meant to say stand down, obviously.
And now every single day on the stump, he is championing insurrectionists we encouraged to violently storm the Capitol in an attempt to overthrow our democracy.
You mean the mostly peaceful protesters?
Trump's team claims that Trump's use of the word bloodbath was taken out of context, was it?
No, this is exactly who Donald Trump is. We saw him call on
his supporters to storm the Capitol 4 years ago, and
Mockingbird repeating the same talking points.
he's doubling down, promoting violence this time around. And this is just right out of the playbook.
Notice they're not even playing the clip because it would be so obvious if they just played 3 seconds of it that it was taken out of context. And or maybe 10 seconds of it, it is beyond clear what it is that he was talking about. Drugs piled on, fake news from the drug court from a bathhouse in San Francisco somewhere. Trump warns of bloodbath, and he is not elected. The New York Times wins the prize for the most over-the-top fake news headline. However, Trump says some language, not the people, and predicts loses. Of course, the not people comment is referring to the monsters, the animals who commit heinous crimes, like the one who killed Lincoln Riley. But you know what's coming next, don't you? A compilation of the Liberal Media Mockingbirds using that same figure of speech over and over and over again.
And as Politico.com reports tonight on the, quote, bloodbath at the RNC.
Headlines calling it a, quote, bloodbath.
Be a bloodbath. Not only is it going to be a bloodbath, but particularly in New Hampshire, it's a bloodbath on her home turf. That's really tough. A lot of corpses in his wake. I mean, we haven't counted the bodies as part of the MAGA drive to take over Maricopa County. And the headline refers to it as an impending bloodbath. Columnist Charles Blow has a new piece for the New York Times entitled A Biden Bloodbath.
2018 midterms, you can bet a 100% of fearing a slaughter. In fact, the word bloodbath and massacre come up frequently.
The Republican Party will be destroyed. It's going to be a bloodbath.
There's going to be a bloodbath one way or the other.
Bloodbath for Bernie Sanders.
It's been a bloodbath. They're shaping up to be a bloodbath. Next year's
Off-year elections are often a bloodbath.
This week's bloodbath for Democrats, a bloodbath at the ballot box.
There could be a Republican bloodbath. We'll talk about a bloodbath.
It's a bloodbath. I have to talk about you. Really, it's going to be a bloodbath all day long. Is it for bloodbath?
Bloodbath. Be a
Predicted to be a bloodbath. May not be the bloodbath, more of a bloodbath. It's going to be a bloodbath in November.
This compilation goes on for another full minute, but you get the point. And this idiocy has generated some hilarious memes. Just sounding like the Operation Mockingbirds, they are repeating the same thing over and over again in concert. And this one showing the media tune out over the weekends. They may actually be repeating themselves still today. If it's a slow news day today, this will very likely be the #1 story again. MSNBC's Joe Scarborough deleted this idiocy after he was utterly humiliated, but probably actually wasn't him or deleted it. It was probably a member of his staff and was afraid that he was going to make Joe look dumb because he posted such idiocy, where he said, Donald Trump's America, and he is proud of it, promised another, quote, bloodbath if he loses again. It was only deleted after Elon Musk noticed and replied, mocking the idiocy. So everybody now knows about the moronic, out of context, bloodbath meltdown from the liberal media. So maybe today they will try to pretend that they didn't get completely unhinged over the weekend. But like I said, if it's a slow news day, they may actually lead with this story again. Also over the weekend, old Joe was temporarily released from the White House Senior Living Center and placed on some cameras, which his soon came to regret.
We stand together and oppose Russia's brutal war of aggression in Ukraine. You can clap for that, please.
Okay, Jeb. And as bad as things are under old Joe, even though he's not really the one running the country, figurehead of the committee, actually making the decisions behind the scenes, at least we never had to deal with this cackling witch as the president of the United States. And for the most part, she has crawled back into the after her devastating loss back in 2016. But sadly, the United States is like the Titanic. And even if Donald Trump wins in November, we may ultimately end up sinking because the damage has been done and is so extensive. But at least we'll be able to have a good time until the subscribe to my channel if you're new and be sure to order my new book, The War on Conservatives, in paperback from Amazon.com or download the ebook from any of the major ebook stores. And of course, there's a link to the Amazon listing in the description below. So click it, head on over there, and check it out.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being with us today. Last week, if you remember, we talked specifically about an operation where we arrested 228 people for prostitution and human trafficking. At the same time that operation was underway, we had another operation underway where we were specifically searching out sexual predators, deviants who are focusing on or targeting or wanting to have sex with children. And that was our primary mission. And as I've said before, a lot of people put these operations on, and if we don't have one person, the entire been worth all the investment. But we arrested many more than that. But that's not possible without our colleagues and our partners. Today I have, representing the Lakeland Police Department who works with us, Ty Thompson, who is a captain. We also have Sheriff